Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. The weekend was, as far as the media was concerned, was dominated by all that YouTuber crud that was going on. I saw clips of two of those so-called fights. It was absolutely pathetic. I was embarrassed to have watched it. I only spent about 5 minutes perusing a few of the fights, but absolute garbage. 20,000 people turn up to watch that guff. And on pay-per-view, can you believe it? People paid for that crap. Anyway, I'm not going to go into one. Well, I think I just did. But there was some real boxing on at the weekend. And headlined in America by Richard Commey versus Jose Pedraza. Two very good fighters. Pedraza, light welterweight, super lightweight, whatever you want to call it. Commey coming up to super lightweight, but you never guess because he looked huge. He looked bigger than Pedraza. A very long, rangy fighter. Both these guys are kind of rebuilding because in his previous fight, Pedraza lost to Jose Ramirez, and Vasyl Lomachenko beat Commey. Lomachenko also holds a 12-round decision win over Pedraza. Went the distance with Lomachenko. Not bad, can't knock it. Even though he lost by God knows how many points. But Pedraza was stopped once by Tank Davis in 7 rounds. Commey's only inside the schedule loss was to Teofimo Lopez. So coming in, Commey had 30 wins, 4 defeats. Of the 30 wins, 27 were by knockout. So he's got heavy hands. We knew that, but that was down at lightweight. 35 years old now, Commey. Knocking on a little bit, but still enough left, as he proved in this fight. Could he do it at the bigger weight? Maybe he's grown into the weight because of his age. Pedraza still at super lightweight, still at light welterweight, whatever you want to call it. 33 years old himself. So both these guys, is it a crossroads fight? Maybe it was, and it was a draw, 95-95. One guy had Pedraza winning 97-93. I didn't agree with that at all. The other guy edged it towards Commey. I had it a draw, but Commey, I tend to feel you can't dismiss the first half of the fight. I thought Commey did most of his best work, and in fact was 4-1 up after 5 rounds. So it was, in a sense, a fight of two halves. But it depends on what you like, because because they came out and Pedraza looked sharp. Pedraza was trying to punch first. Commey was a bit more conservative, kind of having a look at the opponent, seeing what was coming back at him. But Pedraza started really quick and was firing some very good punches. He was boxing on the back foot. He was, in a sense, a lot of the time he was backing off, but he wasn't running. He was kind of trying to control that range, knowing that Commey would come forward. And he had quite a bit of success with that. Having said that, Commey in the second round, gave the first round to Pedraza. Second round, Commey then went on a streak of, for me, it was 4 rounds in a row. Some were closer than others, but he was actually throwing a lot more punches. Not all of them were landing. And yes, Pedraza was throwing back, countering, landing occasionally, but not really countering with enough productive work to bring him back into the fight. Not for me. I felt the rounds were going to Commey on industry, on work rate. And he was landing the heavier punches. He rattled Pedraza, was it the second or third round? But Pedraza hung tough. Pedraza was looking to counter, and he actually upped the tempo. He upped his work rate a bit, Pedraza, from, I'd say, the 6th round onwards. And that made all the difference, because suddenly Commey is walking into the fire. He's, if he's trying to walk through the door, Pedraza's pushing him out of it. Suddenly, Commey's being met with resistance when he walks over that line. The backing up that Pedraza was doing, which was preserving him and limiting Commey to what he could land, suddenly he was a little bit more of the immovable object. And he was landing some very good counters, and he upped his work rate, and suddenly he was more on the front foot. And suddenly Commey started to move back a bit more. Again, no one was running in this fight, but Commey was a little bit more reluctant to sort of just walk forwards in straight lines, slinging these, slashing, hooking punches that he does. Very sort of gangly style, Commey. Very effective, of course, with all those knockouts. But Pedraza seemed to have found his rhythm. Pedraza seemed to have have moved up a gear. I don't think Commey could. I wonder if it was anything to do with the weight. Commey suddenly found himself in there with a legitimate light welterweight. I don't know. But anyway, over the second half of the fight, the majority of it belonged to Pedraza. And in fact, he finished the fight very, very, very impressively. And Commey looked a little bit gassed. Probably he'd used up a bit too much physical and mental work at the start of the fight, at the first half of the fight. Pedraza, to his credit, did contain Commey. And with the benefit of hindsight, the first half of the fight, although Commey won it, Pedraza was containing him, and for that down the stretch rally. It wasn't enough. It was only 95-95. Pedraza looked the more irritated by the result. But again, I thought Commey, I know you can dismiss the first half of this fight. You know, people forget that a fight that's over 10 rounds. You can't forget those early rounds. And Commey was doing he was outworking Pedraza. So if you weigh it all up as a fight of two halves, probably a draw was a fair result. And the crossroads is, it looks like neither guy took either path. You know, that perhaps they can fight again. I don't know. They both got something left. Neither of them looked shot. They're both not as young as they were, mid-30s, but both of them are excellent gatekeepers, and either one could make another run at a title if they're matched correctly. I don't see any problem with that. What did you think of the fight? Did you see it? This is a real fight, not all that. I hate that YouTube shit. I mean, I really do hate it, but people say, well, don't watch it then. Well, yeah, all right. Maybe. I am a mug for spending 5 minutes of my life watching that trash, but yeah, this was a real fight. Did you see it? It was good. Very exciting fight. Lots of give and take. Not much in it. A lot of close rounds. A lot of very close rounds. And I think a draw was a fair result. What did you think? Leave your comments below. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. 1, 2. Combination. Subscribe, like. Cheers for your time as always. We'll speak again soon. Bye for now.